Last episode, we busted out all the stops and made some huge progress on our storage area, adding the entire third floor and bringing our ultimate storage system one step closer to completion. We also built a mushroom. Since then, I dug a hole, and now it's time to add our bulk storage room, which is the penultimate room for this epic system that's going to store every single item in the game. In fact, it pretty much already does. We just need to collect the last few items we're missing. And if building this room goes well, then hopefully we'll also be able to add our non-stackable item storage in the matchbox at the top, and then we can call this system done. So as you can see, I have done a little bit of planning down here, and for this bulk storage system, we're going to be using shulker loaders, and I've just about managed to squeeze one in here, and this should do the trick nicely. We've just got a standard impulse sorter at the top there, and then that will filter everything down, which will load into a shulker box that sits there. When it's full, it gets broken, goes into here, and gets stored in these chests here. And we've also got a stream at the back here, so we can constantly load up the shulkers. So we do actually need to connect this up to the system right at the top there, so that we can keep these things fully loaded. And I've got space here for about 40, I think, which I'm hoping is going to be more than enough. But as usual, I've got extra space at the back here should we need to extend it. So I'm going to make a whole bunch of these. I think I've got everything I need in here. Hopefully, it won't take too long. Well, that's one side done. Now to do the other. The second side done. So now what I need to do is to load it up with some shulker boxes, and for that we're going to need a whole bunch of wood to make a whole bunch of chests, and of course a whole bunch of shulker shells. But thankfully, because of our shulker farm, we've got no shortage of those. So let's grab a bunch of these. Then I need to sneak in here, and ideally what I want to do is put 9 shulkers in each one of these, and then place one there for loading. And I've got to do that in all 40 of these units, so we could be here a while. So that's all the shulker boxes loaded, at least enough to get the system started. However, we also need to make sure we sort out this water stream so that it stays loaded. And for that, what we need to do is to make some kind of a tube, I guess, that goes all the way up to the top where we first sort out the shulkers. So currently the shulkers are going into these chests here, but what we need to do is pump them this way and around about here. In fact, if we go back a few further blocks this way, we should be roughly above where we need to be. We just need to dig a really big hole down. That was a pretty good guess. We've come out right next to the pipe we need. So let's see. Dig out a little bit of space here. There we go. That should just about do it. And I guess we can just build our way back to the top. And now we just need to make a water chute that heads over this way. So that should do as my water channel. What I need to do now is put in a dropper system here and link up some hoppers over to where they're actually coming out. And in theory, that should be good to go. Excellent. Let's just block up the top here as well and get some water in. That might actually help. And I think so nothing other than shulkers goes in here or falls in. Let's just put some glass on top as well. So the shulkers are now going to go all the way around the back of all of these. They're going to fully load them, and then what we need to do is send all the excess ones back up there. And I think the only safe way to do that is going to be to dig into the wall a little bit here and put a tube that goes all the way up to the surface. There we go, beautiful. And if we just slip out there, that should work an absolute treat now. And what we're going to do, just to check that that's all working fine, is dump all of these shulkers into the system and just watch them go. And if we take a look in FreeCam, we can see them doing their thing. They're slowly filling up. They're going to basically fill up from that side, and they'll keep going until they've filled up the whole system. Then any leftovers should go back to the top. So that should just about do it. Everything is all linked up, and in theory, anything that doesn't actually get sorted, which is pretty much just the mob heads at the moment, we'll just go into this chest over here for now, which of course we will put somewhere a bit more suitable, but I really need to test this out and make sure it's going to work. Thankfully, that shouldn't be too difficult because our stone and cobble boxes are almost full, and we've got about 40 double chests of it up there. So if we feed some of that into the system, it should fill up these and then hopefully go into the overflow down the bottom. So let's just chuck all of these in there, and I'm just going to sit back and relax, let the system run for a little while. I'll probably get the rest of this put into shulkers as well, and we'll probably just actually put these ones directly directly into the bulk storage area. There's no need to actually run them through the system because I've kept this fairly well organized all the way through, which I'm very glad I did because it's going to make this a whole lot easier. About an hour or so later, and I can confirm everything is working as expected, and I've also managed to clear the upstairs and bring everything down, and look how much stone we've got. This is absolutely ridiculous. Almost 2 double chests already. We've also got all the cobble, diorite, andesite, and so on coming through as well. So the next step is to make this look nice, of course, and I think I'm going to use this color for the floor, which is light grey terracotta. We're going to use that in here, and I think we're probably going to make it look just a bit like a sort of dank storage basement / warehouse type area. And then, of course, we need to decorate the rest of the lobby as well. But these 3 sections here are not going to have an immediate use. I do have plans for this one over here, and the other ones may find a use at some point in future. But for now, it's pretty much just going to be this solitary bit here. So let's get this floor in first and see what we can do. Making a little bit of progress here with the floor. We've got a little shulker symbol on the floor as well, which some of you may recognise from Truly Bedrock Season 2 if you've been around the channel that long. But I've also started putting up some stone. We're going to have a nice stone wall at the back here, and then I need to figure out what to do with the ceiling. Looking pretty good. We just need to get some frames up, but I'm completely out of leather, so we're going to have to solve that later. But for now, I want to focus on the lobby, and we're going to make a red area here, purple here, and light blue over there. And of course, we're going to sort out the ceiling too. Quite nicely. What I've just done here is blocked off the back walls here with some spruce for now. As I say, we do have a purpose for at least this one here, and hopefully we'll come up with a purpose for the other 2 eventually as well. But what we need to do now is focus on the center here, and I need to dig this out. I need to dig down 2, maybe 3 layers. Yep, I think we're going to go 3 layers down, and I've got an idea of what I want to put here. But before I can make a start, I need to remove all this. Then take a strip out along the edge here, and we're going to chuck a bunch of sea lanterns in that gap. Then we're going to use a bunch of smooth quartz here, and from the center here we're going to start placing some blocks, and we're going to put a little logo on the bottom here, starting with the black terracotta and then some red concrete. You can probably guess what it is by now. Get some wool in here as well, a few nether bricks, and we'll just fill in the rest of the background here in white as well. Then we'll stick a layer of glass over the top, and the last thing to do here is just replace a bunch of these logs with some slabs instead. Oh yes, that looks awesome. I absolutely love that. So yes, it is of course a hardcore heart, and I think that just looks really cool. And in fact, from up the top there, it probably looks pretty good as well. Yep, can confirm that looks cool. So one last thing I want to do down here is just get a little bit more light at the top corners and whatnot. So let's just hang a few janky lanterns, and I want to add a few more leaves over here. And with that, I think this floor is now complete, at least for now. So with all this automated storage done, there's just one last thing to do. I say one last thing, there's always going to be one last thing, but there's one more thing I want to do right now, and that is right at the top here in the matchbox, because this is looking extremely empty right now. And in fact, we can even fix some of these holes. We don't need the beacon holes anymore. But up here is where I'm going to be storing all of my overflow storage, which is just things that don't get sorted, such as the mob heads and so on. And I also want to send all the unstackable items up here too, as well as any excess shulker boxes that don't get stored in the bulk storage system. So what we need to do is work out how we're going to get the things from here up there. And I think what I'm going to do is work out where the storage is going to go and where I want the items to come up, and we'll just move them around under the floor until we get them in the right position. But I need to grab the right things for that, and thankfully we can use our automated storage now. Oh, this is so good. This is going to make my life much easier. So I've worked out there's going to be 6 sections we need up here of varying importance, and this is all of them. So we're going to have the shulkers that don't get stored into the bulk system down the bottom, as well as the unstackables from below and the potions, which we are actually going to separate from the unstackables. We then need somewhere for the overflow, which can probably just be 3 chests or so. We need a few chests for some rockets, and then we want a wall for all of our armor, tools, and weapons, which we're going to filter manually out of here. So that's basically it, and we've got lots and lots of space to do it in, and of course we need to make sure we have our drop chute and our drop-off point as well. So I'm going to start laying out a bunch of chests for different things and label them as I go, and hopefully this will give us a bit of a layout that we can work with. So I think something like this should work. So we're going to store all the unstackables over here. We'll have the potions here, and we've created little chutes here as well so we can actually pump the items where they're needed. All the overflow is going to come here, so that's anything that doesn't get sorted down below for whatever reason. And then we've also got an area here for any overflow shulkers. And once again, these have holes that go into the room below as well. Lastly, we have this area here for armor, which is where I'll just manually sort things for armor, tools, and items like that. And we also have an area for rockets. This is more just a dumping ground for me, so these two are not automatically sorted or anything like that, just somewhere for me to put things. And then that's going to leave plenty of space over here for the drop-off points, and also plenty of space for getting down into storage itself. So the next step is to add a whole bunch of hoppers onto the back of all of these. Right, that should just about do it. So I think the first thing I want to do is get everything sort of heading in the right direction down below. So I'm going to put in the tubes for the overflow, which we actually need to bring up all the way from the 4th floor down the bottom there. We need to bring up the shulkers from just down below, so that should be fairly straightforward. And then we need to sort out this side. But before we can do that, we actually need to build our potion sorter as well. So yeah, we'll start with these ones here, and then we'll build up to these. So that's the shulkers done. They're being fed up here now. And if we look from down below, we just have a lovely little pipe running across the ceiling. And that does mean I can remove these chests and bits now as well. So next up, we need to feed the overflow items into this hole here. And for that, well, where do we need to connect it to? Let's have a quick look, shall we? So this is where we just came down. And currently they are over here behind this wall, I believe. Let me quickly bust through. Yep, so they're currently there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed them back over this way, and we're going to go up pretty much where the shulkers do. We'll go next to it along here somewhere, and that should hopefully get us in a good position to feed them into the right place at the top. Well, it turns out we really don't have a lot of space around here, so what I'm going to do is actually feed this into the wall back here, and then we'll just go along that way. There we go, that should do nicely. So let's just get a few blocks in. And that's the overflow items done, which once again just has another pipe running along the back wall down here. So the next thing to do is to sort out the unstackable items. And for that, I need to kind of send them up a little bit higher. I need to put them through a potion sorter, and then we're going to put potions one side and unstackable items on the other. So I guess I'm going to need to grab myself a whole bunch of redstone. Potion sorter has been installed, and this will now send all the potions up this pipe here. And anything that's unstackable and not a potion will go up this one here. And up the top here, that means the potions go over here and the unstackables go over here. So with all the sorting complete, it's now time to make this place look nice, because currently it does not. Something like this works a lot better, and I've kind of lent into the whole matchbox thing. I've got some matches hanging from the ceiling just to sort of divide things up, and I've used bits of wood which are supposed to represent bits of the match and so on, and we've also trodden a whole lot of dirt through here. And as the top of this box is open, I have put some grey glass over it as well, just so I don't get explodinated while I'm in here, because it's not particularly well lit up out there, let's be honest. But this should work quite nicely. We just need to get a few finishing touches in. I need to get some spruce trapdoors, and of course I need to get some frames so we can get these boxes labelled up. But we still have access to the lift down the back here as well. That'll get us between the different floors, and of course we still have access to our drop-off area here, which I'm going to make use of right now, I think. So let's just quickly get these trapdoors on, and we'll sort out some frames as well. And there we go, this room is now finished, and we've still got a couple of extra boxes here for, well, I don't even know what, let's be honest. But we have storage for our unstackables, represented by the minecart. We have our potions, which obviously is represented by a potion, and then we have this area here, which is of course for our overflow, and an area for all of our empty shulkers. And with this room done, I can finally say this storage, mega storage massive thing is complete. So while we have a look at a really awesome cinematic of all the different areas of the storage, oh, look at that, look, doesn't that look marvelous? I have also done a bit of counting and I've got some numbers. So there's actually 1,517 double chests in this storage system, not including what's in the matchbox. And with 3,456 items per chest, that means we can store 5.1 million items just on the first 3 floors. If we then also factor in the bulk storage, there's another 120 double chests, which can hold 6,480 shulkers, which is another 11.1 million items. So all in all, not even including the matchbox at the top, we can store over 16 million items in this storage unit, which is an absolutely crazy amount of storage and hopefully means I won't need to make any more.